Hi guys, Happy New Year, welcome to 2019. I hope you all had a really good Christmas and New Year. The last time I saw you was Christmas Eve at the end of Vlogmas. I hope you all enjoyed that, those of you that got to watch it. If you didn't, then please do go back and have a look. So basically I filmed and uploaded a video every single day from the 1st of December to the 24th. Give or take a couple of days. I did miss a couple of days, but I think I did pretty well. It was tough. It wasn't too bad filming. It was actually having the time to sit and edit and upload the videos every day. So it was an interesting one, but yeah, I'm glad I did it. So I'm sure I'll do it again next year. So we are now into 2019, into a whole new year of vlogs. I've got lots planned for you, so please do make sure that you subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, or follow my Facebook page and you will be notified every time I upload a new vlog. So back to normal now, back to uploading a vlog every Sunday. Aim to have it uploaded by sort of around 5 o'clock, but sometimes if I'm filming on Sunday then it might be a little bit later than that. Anyway, I'm going to kick off 2019 with a vlog about New Year's resolutions, and I did this last year as well, but it's a little bit different. I'm going to add a few more things in this year. I've got new followers, new subscribers, so I thought you might like to hear sort of an updated version. So even though this vlog is all about New Year's resolutions, the first thing I'm going to tell you is that I don't make them and I don't like them. Instead of New Year's resolutions, I set goals. Now, you might be thinking, well, what's the difference in that? But actually there is a huge difference, and that's what I'm going to talk to you about in today's vlog. So a New Year's resolution is something that a lot of people make, sometimes for no real reason, sometimes just because that's what everyone else is doing, and people will ask you, oh, what's your New Year's resolution this year? And you kind of have to come up with something. But if that's the case, then there's no meaning behind it, and there's no chance you're going to stick to it. But the main reason why I don't like New Year's resolutions is because they're really difficult to stick to, because generally speaking, they are too broad, they're not specific enough. So I've done a little bit of research on it, and there's a website called Inc.com, and they did a study on New Year's resolutions, and basically it says that only 8% of people that set New Year's resolutions actually go on to achieve them. 8%, that's horrendously low. And they sort of said like the top 10 New Year's resolutions that people make. So I'm just going to talk you through a few of those now. So number 1 is to diet and eat healthier. Number 2 is exercise more. Number 3 is lose weight. So the first 3 very similar. Number 4, save more and spend less. Number 5, learn a new skill. And number 6, quit smoking. And we'll just go up to there because there's quite a lot of them. So for me, all of those are very general. The only one that is quite specific is to quit smoking. So I'm guessing that by the end of the year, that person wants to not be smoking at all anymore. So that's the only one really that's specific. But even within that, I would want to break that down a lot more. But the rest of them, so we'll just use an example for diet and eat healthier. There's no, that's so broad and so general. That could mean anything. That could mean swapping 1 chocolate bar a day for a piece of fruit. That could mean overhauling your entire diet. That could mean losing weight. That could mean just dieting for a month. That could mean going on a detox. It could mean all kinds of things. And people actually don't really think about it when they set these resolutions. They just say, oh, I'm going to diet, I'm going to eat better. But what does eat better mean? What does eat healthier mean to you as an individual? So the difference between that and a goal is something you are aiming for, so an actual event. So it could be that if you're trying to lose weight, you're aiming for a certain weight that you're going to be by the end of the year, or by the end of, summer, or whatever, whenever you want to set it for. So that's the difference. So goals are a lot not necessarily easier to achieve, but more achievable, because you've actually set yourself a specific target to get to, rather than just saying, I'm going to eat healthier. Because the thing is as well, we as humans, we like to feel good about ourselves. We like to feel like we've achieved something. So if you don't have something set in place to go and achieve, you're never going to get that feeling. And that's why people tend to fail, because they never have that good feeling. There's nothing to really aim towards. They're just kind of going along mindlessly and not really thinking about where they're aiming for. They're just kind of, oh, I'm just trying to eat healthier. And then, on this website as well, it said that over 50% of people who start a New Year's resolution fail it by the end of January. So that's not even, it's only a month and they've already failed it. And it's the same with all of them. Exercise more. What does that mean? Are you going to go to the gym once a week? Are you going to go to the gym every day? What are you going to do at the gym? At what point will you feel like you've hit that point where you're exercising enough? You need to be specific. You can't just say, oh, I'm going to exercise more. I'm going to join a gym this year. That's great, but what else? Like, where are you actually going with that? How are you going to realize that you've achieved what you want to achieve? With saving more and spending less, exactly the same again. I'm going to save money. How much money? By when? How much money am I going to save per month? What am I saving that money for? What's the end goal? What am I aiming for? So what I try and do is at the beginning of January, or I start thinking about this way back in December, I start thinking about my goals for the year ahead, and I pick one or two big goals, and I'll have like one goal that's horse related and one goal that's like self-development related, and they're going to be two completely different things, but they're what I'm aiming for, and I'll set a time on when I want to achieve that. So for me, it will be by the end of the year. I would like to be at a certain place with the horses. I would like to be at a certain place in myself by the 31st of December 2019. But what I then do is I then break that down into smaller goals for each month, and then even down to each week, because it's a lot easier to achieve a goal if you break it down into doable chunks rather than saying, this is what I'm going to be able to do by the end of the year. That's a lot of pressure to put on yourself to achieve that one big thing. Whereas if you can say, well, this is what I want to achieve, but actually between now and then, I need to be able to do this, 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 and this to make the big goal happen. And I'm going to do this month, I'm going to do this month, etc., etc. And then you're breaking it down into easier chunks so that you can actually go and achieve that in your first month, go and achieve that in your second month, rather than that huge goal that you've got by the end of the year. You want to kind of end up achieving that goal. You don't want to have to like really force yourself to get there. You want it to be like a natural progression. And that's another reason why a lot of people don't achieve their resolutions and their goals, is because they set this huge goal, and there's no reason why you can't set a big goal. You want it to be something that's going to challenge you, otherwise there's not a lot of point in setting it. But people set this huge goal and then they become overwhelmed with it and feel like they're not good enough and they can't do it and they can't achieve it. So it's really important to break it down into steps that you can do, and just kind of gradually make your way towards that goal. So one of the most common New Year's resolutions I've seen this year from like my Facebook friends and my followers is that they want to ride more, which is great. But again, for me, I would want that breaking down. I would want to have a specific goal in mind. I want to ride more. That could mean I'm just going to sit on my horse an extra once a week, or I'm going to ride for an extra 5 minutes per ride. Or it could mean that I'm going to ride for 5 hours a week, or I'm going to aim that by the end of the year I can ride my horse for 5 hours a day. It could mean anything. And obviously it's going to be different for different people. But unless you set that specific goal, you're not going to achieve it because there's nothing to achieve. So think about, how much do you want to ride more? For how long at a time? Doing what? What kind of rides are we talking about? And what's the end achievement? What are you aiming for? What are you going to achieve by riding more this year? As long as you have that really clear picture in your head, you're going to stand a lot better chance of actually achieving it because you really want it. It's not just something that you think, I probably should be riding my horse more. And obviously you enjoy riding your horse, but really think, why? What am I doing this for? And if it is because you're just enjoying it, then that's great. So then your end goal by the end of the year is to enjoy riding your horse for however long, or doing whatever it is that you want to do. Another thing that people tend to do is they set negative resolutions. And what I mean by that is, let's just use an example. I'm going to drink less alcohol. It's a negative because you're telling yourself not to do something. Does that make sense? As opposed to actually doing something. So what you could say instead is, I'm going to drink more water, or let's make it specific. I'm going to replace my nightly glass of wine with a glass of water. Whatever it is that you want to do. But by putting a positive in, it's a lot easier to achieve because our brain doesn't think in negatives. It just focuses on whatever it is that we're thinking. So if we're thinking don't drink alcohol, what we're doing is we're thinking alcohol. That's what our brain does. Our brain straight away switches onto alcohol. If you think I'm not going to eat that bar of chocolate, all you're thinking about is eating that bar of chocolate. There's a famous one of whatever you do, don't think about a pink elephant. what you're doing right now, but you're all thinking about a pink elephant. You can't help it. Your brain just switches onto something and picks that information up and locks onto it. So it's exactly the same. So if you're making a goal, make sure that it's a positive, not a negative. It's also really important to remember that if you don't achieve your goal, you haven't failed, because it's actually all about the journey there. Think how much you will have achieved just by getting there, just by aiming for it and by disciplining yourself into getting there. And your goal might change, and mine change all the time. I very rarely will get to the end of the year with the same goals that I had at the beginning, because as I go along, I will find other things that I want to do and actually, I'm going to just change that and actually going to head in this direction now. But without actually aiming for that initial goal, I never would have found those other things. So it's important to remember that you've not failed. As long as you're still trying and as long as you're aiming for something, then you haven't failed. So don't worry about that either. So the last thing that I'm going to give you some advice on is that when you're setting a goal, don't try to go for too much, okay? It needs to be a challenge. It needs to be kind of something that's going to push you a little bit, but not going to push you over the edge. It can't be anything that is unachievable. And I talk a lot about comfort zones within my horsemanship and within teaching as well, with rider confidence. Think about where your comfort zone is and where your thresholds are. So you kind of want to be working towards the edge of your comfort zone. So imagine like your comfort zone is this circle, and your threshold is on the edge of it, and then out here is the panic zone. You don't want to end up out here, and this is what a lot of people aim for. Let's think from a horsemanship perspective. If you want to hack out on your own, and that is a huge goal. Like at the moment, you're not very confident even hacking out with other horses. You're not confident leading your horse out on the ground, but by the end of the year you want to hack out alone. That's like way up here in the panic zone. So you might want to scale that back a little bit and actually say, by the end of the year, I want to be able to hack my horse out with one other horse confidently. I want to be able to lead my horse out and ride him home, something like that. And that would be on the threshold. That's where at the moment you're thinking, I'm not sure if I could do that, but it still feels doable after you've put some work in. Now you might get to the end of the year and have achieved this threshold bit like way back in the summer. So then by the end of the year you are hacking out on your own, and that would be amazing. But you're better to sort of scale it back a little bit and then achieve more than the other way around, because that's also how to avoid feeling like a failure. You don't want to get to the end of the year and go, all I wanted to do this year was hack out my horse on his own and I've not done it, I'm a failure, I don't know enough, not good enough for my horse. We're really good at doing this, creating this huge problem in our head, whereas actually the initial goal was too much anyway. We were asking way too much of ourselves. So really think about that as well. Just definitely challenge yourself, but keep it doable. You don't want it to be too much of a big ask for yourself or for your horse. The other thing to do is when you're setting these goals, start in a good mental state. You need to be in a good emotional place to set these goals. You need to feel positive. You need to feel like you can do anything, you can achieve anything. If you're setting these goals, you need to really want to achieve them when you're setting them, and make them as detailed as you possibly can. And in order to do that, you need to be in a positive mental state. So make sure that you're having a good day. Make sure that you're already onto a winner with your day. You're already thinking, I really want to achieve all these things this year. And sit down, get a notebook and a pen, and write your main goal, write your big goal, and underneath it write why you want to achieve it, write what you need to do in order to achieve it, what tools, what equipment, what support do you need other people to help you to achieve it, and then break it down into those smaller goals, whether it's monthly goals, weekly goals, seasonal goals, whatever it is. Break it all down and have it there. Take that piece of paper out of your notebook, laminate it if you want, stick it on your wall, stick it on your tack room door, wherever it is that you're going to see it every day, and remind yourself of what that goal is and what it is you're aiming for. Be prepared that you might add other things in, you might take bits off, change this around. That's absolutely fine. It doesn't need to be set in stone, but just have it there ready all the time. But make sure that when you're writing it all out, you're in a good, positive mental state, because that's what's going to set you up for that whole year of working towards that goal. You can probably tell I'm really, really passionate about this subject. I love goal setting. It's a huge part of what I do. It's a huge part of what I teach people to do as well. I have got a goal setting workshop coming up in February. I will link the information down below for that. So if you are anywhere near me, then you can come along to that. If not, I do offer goal setting sessions. We can meet up in a cafe or restaurant or at your house and have a chat. and really make some specific goals for you and your horse for the year. And if you're not near me, I can also do that online as well. So please do get in touch. We can maybe, I've got so much to say about this and I can really help you. We've literally only scratched the surface on it today, but I can really help you to create these goals, take you through the program that I go through to actually create my goals, and then how to stick to them and all the common things that happen to us as to why we end up not achieving our goals, why we give up so easily and so quickly. So please do have a chat to me about that if you're interested. I really hope you've enjoyed today's vlog. Please do comment below with your goals for this year. I'd love to hear them. Another little secret that I've got that I do include in my goal setting sessions is that it's really important to share your goals with other people. Now, if I have a one-on-one session with somebody, then obviously I know their goals, so that's great, but they might then want to go home and tell their husband or their partner or their children or whatever. But if you're setting your goals now, sitting at home, tell someone, tell me, tell a friend, tell your yard owner, tell somebody, because what that does is it creates accountability. It means that you've got someone else who knows what you're aiming for. So they might ask you at any time, oh, how are you getting on with that goal? How are you getting on towards hacking out on your own? How are you getting on towards going to that show with your horse? And by having that, it makes you feel a little bit more like, oh, I should work on this. I should remember to keep working on this, because you're accountable for it. Somebody might ask you, feel a little bit more responsible. And also you want to show them that you can do it. So that's a really important thing. I always tell people about my goals. I'm picky about who I choose. 1 or 2 people, close friend, or my mum, or, someone like that, who I know is going to ask me questions as I'm going along, who I know that if I say to them, oh, I'm really struggling with this at the moment, they're going to give me support and help me, as opposed to say, well, I knew you'd never do it. Yeah, so do be picky with who you choose, but it's a really good idea to share it with somebody. Thank you so much for watching today's vlog. I really hope you enjoyed it. Have a great week and I will see you next Sunday.
We've been acting out for days, nothing to deny. Blown up egos, echoes through the halls. You keep sleeping on the couch just to prove the point. I'm too proud to tell you when I'm wrong. Arguments spinning in circles, we're fighting for days, stuck in a phase. I think we're losing the reason.